Living Streets Alliance is a nonprofit working at the intersections of social justice, climate change, public health, and community development. They focus on Tucson streets as a space to foster a just, sustainable, and vibrant city. Every spring and fall, Cyclovia takes over 5 miles of city streets for a day, opening them up to biking, rolling, scooting, and walking, as well as a variety of other community events throughout the route that reimagine our streets as a place we can connect with each other. Last fall, an estimated 45,000 people attended Cyclovia, which was held in conjunction with the City of Tucson's Thrive in the O5 initiative. LSA, with the help of volunteers, conducts a census to identify areas of impact and the reach of the event. In addition, this data helps LSA make a case for the event and advocate for greater support for open streets at city, county, and other levels of government. For fall 2022, we collected surveys through oral interviews with census volunteers capturing information shared by respondents, as well as paper surveys and online surveys. 132 people participated in our census during the fall cyclovia, though not every question received 132 responses. Slightly more women participated than men, and those between the ages of 40 and 59 were the most frequent respondents. Ethnicity demographics were roughly in line with U.S. Census Bureau estimates of Tucson. Because this event has been held multiple times a year for over a decade, we often heard from folks who make it a point to come to each one. Still, of those surveyed, 44% were attending Cyclovia for the first time. Nearly half lived in the O5 zip code where Cyclovia was held, or from the surrounding zip codes, as seen in the map below. On average, those surveyed anticipated spending 2.6 hours at Cyclovia, and 84% of participants were physically active for 2 or more hours, which is 4 times the daily recommended amount of physical activity for an adult. Over half of Cyclovia participants biked, walked, or took public transit to get to the event, making it an entirely car-free day for more than 25,000 people. 59% of those surveyed said that community socializing and connecting with people were one of the things that they liked most about Cyclovia. 51% noted no traffic and open streets, while 30% said biking and being active. We also look at economic impacts Cyclovia has to show businesses how much Cyclovia in their neighborhood can be beneficial to them and to encourage organizations to sponsor and participate in future Cyclovia events. A majority of those surveyed visited a food vendor or business along the route, with 69% learning about at least one business they'd not previously known about during the event. Nearly half of those surveyed spent at least $15 at Cyclovia. Additionally, 10% of respondents incurred some type of expense in preparation, such as bike repair, with the average expense being $32. As part of the census, we also asked for general feedback. It's not always things we have control over. We got lots of requests to improve the roads, but it's helpful to understand what the people we survey most value. Our most frequent request was to hold it more often, followed by requests for hosting Cyclovia on routes in different parts of town, Midtown and the East Side in particular. Others wanted more of what we're doing, more music, more vendors, more streets, more participants. Also, a number of folks had feedback that fell under the umbrella of accessibility, thinking about access to bathrooms and shade, a recommendation to have bikes available to rent for those who don't have one, and suggestions to make maps that were clearer and displayed distance. A majority of written responses were some variation of "this is great," but we did have people tell us that it gets better and more organized each year, that they plan to make it a new tradition, and that they loved how it was intergenerational and got people of all ages out and interacting with one another. So where do we go from here? Just as we've seen in previous years, proximity matters. Nearly half of all respondents lived close to the route, and many people suggested we bring it closer to their neighborhoods. As we consider future routes, it's helpful to look at the areas where we get the most engagement. While zip code data is a big part of that, we've had challenges collecting information about specific neighborhoods in an easily synthesizable way. Many people weren't familiar with their neighborhood names, so for the spring event, we're considering ways to reframe that question in order to get the information we're looking for. Additionally, we continue to recruit census volunteers in order to reach more attendees and get a broader sense of community experiences. The QR code option made it easier for attendees to participate, but surveying in person allows people to ask questions and clarify in order to get clear and more precise feedback. LSA is able to use this data not only to shape future events, but also to identify behavior changes linked to open streets, apply for future grants, share with partners and sponsors doing similar work, and advocate for more frequent events that help transform Tucson streets into living public spaces that connect people to places and each other.